So you've proposed your energy price plan. You now want Parliament recalled. But we have in the past weeks heard from the Liberal Democrats, the SNP and Gordon Brown wanting Parliament to be recalled. Are you a bit late to this?
No, I mean, I think the most important thing is that households are worrying now. And because the Ofgem price rise is due to be announced in 7 days' time, the government has failed to come up with their own plan. And we announced our plan, which is now fully, it's fully costed. We know where we're going to get the money. We're going to take the money from those big oil and gas producers who have so benefited from the windfall in oil and gas prices. And we need to get back to Parliament on Monday so that we can legislate before the Ofgem price rise. The time to act is now. The government has failed. They could have acted weeks ago. They could have acted months ago, in fact, when Labour first called for a windfall tax on oil and gas way back in January. And that is why, under our plan, we would backdate that windfall tax and close the loophole that the government put in their energy price levy. We would backdate it all the way back to January because nobody can say that we haven't warned the oil and gas companies that their massive profits at a time of national crisis with inflation skyrocketing have to be used to help households through this very difficult time.
But what would a debate achieve when we're just 2 weeks away from having a new Prime Minister announced and they will have a plan of their own?
What it would achieve, would it be to pass a law? It wouldn't be just so that we could discuss it. It would be so that we can pass the legislation that would be necessary for us to override the price rise, the rise in the price cap that Ofgem will be announcing in 7 days' time. That could happen next week if we get back to Parliament on Monday. That is up to the government to request the Speaker, and they can do that. The Prime Minister is perfectly capable of opening his email, which I sent to him last night, asking him to do just this. I've also asked both leadership candidates to back that call. If they're really serious about helping working people and struggling households and businesses through this crisis, through this cost of living crisis, they should back our call right now, and we should be passing that legislation next week.
Well, yes, obviously you think it's the best plan, but not everybody else does. There are a lot of people out there that say it's very expensive and it's only a short-term fix. As soon as you release that freeze on the price cap, inflation will just shoot up again.
Well, what we're focusing on is what's going to help people right now. And we do know where we're going to get the money for that plan. And as I said, we are going to concentrate primarily on getting the money back from the oil and gas producers who are making massive windfall profits and have been for some time now. That's how we'd pay for it. It would help those people, for example, those 4 million households who are on prepayment meters where they have to feed a meter with cash and top it up at the local shop if they run out. And I've watched this happen with struggling working families who have been put on a prepayment meter and they run out of power because that power costs much more than it does for those people on bills and direct debits. Now, we would fix that gap with our plan, and we would also keep the price cap from rising, so that would save most households around £1,000. Now, yes, we'll need a long-term plan as well. Labour does have a long-term plan, and I would like us to get into government sooner rather than later so we can insulate homes, invest in renewable energy, protect our energy security, and conduct that green energy sprint that this country and our planet so badly needs. But right now, we have to focus on what's in front of people right now and their worries for how they're going to get through the winter, whether or not they're going to be able to afford to heat and eat. And that's the stark choice we're facing. And the government needs to do the right thing, get us back to Parliament and legislating.
We're in the midst of rail strikes once again. Are you happy with Keir Starmer's stance on this, discouraging members from going to the picket lines? Are you on the side of working people in Labour anymore?
Of course, we're on the side of working people. Labour believes in the right to strike, and we also know that constituency MPs should and do always listen to the needs and views of our constituents, and we do. My job as a member of Keir's shadow cabinet is to prepare to get us into government so that we can pass in the first 100 days that employment bill, that workers' rights charter that would so benefit people who are right now calling out for help, and understandably so. That's our role in the Labour movement. That employment bill is something that Angela Rayner has worked on with the trade unions, and it would protect the right to bargain, it would protect the right to fair pay, it would end the unfair practices of fire and rehire that are damaging people's lives.
Very briefly, you're about to fall off air. Would you go on a picket line or not?
That's not my role. My role is actually to listen to my constituents and to work on the legislation that would help prevent the need for strikes to take place in the first place.